What's up, guys? Today I'm bringing you another Ultra League Premier video, this time with Weavile as a closer. And this is a very interesting video to me just because I tried to get Weavile to work for so long in regular Ultra League the last couple seasons, and it could just never find its footing. And I finally found a team where it kind of works a little bit. So now this current team picture in the bottom right, this is not entirely accurate. This is the team that I originally started with, and we're actually going to go through a little bit of the team building process in this video as well. Kind of the evolution of a team. If a team isn't working, you don't always have to stick with it, but sometimes it's just better to make minor changes if you think the idea behind it is correct. So the other important thing about this video, or this team, is that it doesn't contain any legacy move Pokemon, no community day starters. All these Pokemon are, I would say, not common, but available in many events, currently through eggs in a lot of raids. And I'll give you a breakdown on how this team goes and a bit of the history of what happened here. So I initially started with Granbull, A-Muk, and Weavile. The theory is the same between this team and the previous Typhlosion Gengar team that I've ran. Weavile is the closer, functioning similar to Gengar. A-Muk baits out all the fighting types, and Granbull, or finally Toxicroak, is there to lay down the hurt on those fighting types and maybe carry some energy over into the next battle to try and burn some shields. This is also a shields down team. You want to get all the shields down if you can. Try and save one for Weavile. If you can't, that's fine too. It's better to just get those shields down in the first place. So what happened originally is I was playing this Granbull team first, as my Toxicroak isn't quite best buddy. I think I'm a day away or something like that. But I initially got a 5-0, but this 5-0, it didn't feel like a 5-0 to me. It felt like I was getting some pretty lucky matchups, and it turns out I was. So after this 5-0, I think I lost 5 or 6 sets in a row. I dropped over 100 rating. I'm sure there's a little bit of it due to me trying to learn matchups and a little bit of me trying to, like, you can see me throw foul play at Gallade here. I should be throwing Avalanche. That does more damage. But that's just me trying to learn matchups, a little bit of that, but a little bit of the fact that Granbull exerts almost no shield pressure because it's a Charmer. And I didn't really want to go Snarl Granbull because then I have 3 Snarl users. So I ended up going with Toxicroak, and that completely changed the team around. I started winning, I don't think I have a 5-0, but a lot more consistent set wins, as we'll see later on in the video. Both a little bit of that history aside, that just is a reminder, just because you see someone go 5-0 with a team doesn't mean that it is a fantastic team. You're going to see me go 5-0 with this team. This team with Granbull Lead is not very good. And I can definitely attest to that after spending a couple days losing with it. But as you can see, A-Muk swaps in and immediately draws out the Machamp. So this is one thing that this team is much better at than the Typhlosion swap team. Typhlosion sometimes will end up baiting out a water instead. For some reason, A-Muk, because there are no ground types in the meta, A-Muk will always bait out the fighter. So Granbull's going to come in and throw close combat. So in some cases, you do get a shield. And in this case, I have 2 shields up on Weavile versus Swampert. And I know 2 Avalanches KO. Technically, Weavile can take 1 Hydro Cannon. But I don't have to really play around with those odds. I'm just going to keep farming up so I can instantly delete whatever comes back in right after. And Avalanche is a very good move. So Weavile does a little bit less damage than Gengar because Shadow Ball is very strong. But Avalanche, I think, has a higher DPE, and Weavile has, damage per energy, and Weavile charges faster. So you're going to get these moves off with Weavile faster than Gengar would. So your pace is a little bit higher. But the other main problem with this team is with the last team, we had 3 reasonably high damage fast moves, so there was the ability to kind of farm down opposing Pokemon in certain situations. This team, with 2 Snarl users in the back, it's very hard to farm down. You really have to, really have to be low, and you really have to like commit shields to farm someone else down. So it's a slightly different feel, but Still works out. In the front, we have Granbull versus Swampert. You really don't want to tank a Sludge Wave. That's why I shield the first one, and yeah, he baits. But Swampert is a pretty big threat to this team in with the Granbull or without the Granbull. And we're going to see they're going to bring in their own Alolan Muk here. I'm going to throw the close combat, which they don't shield, and I'm unable to get my Granbull out of there. So when you're running these double whatever lines, it's usually nice to try and save your lead and swap them out to try and save them for later, just in case, for example, in the back there was a counter user. If there's a Machamp in the back, then Alolan Muk and Weavile could reasonably both fall to it with a shield advantage. But instead, it's a Gallade, technically a fighting type, but you know what I mean, and it comes in, baited out by the Alolan Muk just because they don't want to lose their own Alolan Muk, and even then we don't even have to see Weavile. Weavile, fantastic versus those two Pokemon as well. So we see a Tangrowth Lead. I've actually seen a lot less of these recently, but once again, especially the Toxicroak version of this team, everything deals with grass types very well. We have 2 poison types and an ice type on this team. Actually, we have 2 poison types and 2 dark types. There's a lot of overlap. But we're going to see, we bait out the Machamp again. And either they shield the Sludge Wave, I'll just go Sludge Wave first. If they shield the Sludge Wave or they don't shield the Sludge Wave, you're going to burn a shield or they're going to lose the matchup. So this just goes to show how powerful Alolan Muk as a safe switch is. The other problem with Granbull is, for example, when I'm left with a Machamp with very low HP, I come in and only get 1 charm worth of energy off, which is only 2 energy. A Toxicroak, you get quite a few counters in, but so Drifloon comes in and Avalanche one-shots Drifblim, and guess what? Avalanche would one-shot Tangrowth too. So there's quite a bit of an advantage being played here with people not expecting a Weavile, or especially an Ice type in the back. The only Ice type that's really viable is Abomasnow right now, and it's kind of rare still. Yeah, the counter user in the front. This is Escavalier, pronouncing it correctly now. Is or was probably the main issue in the lead against this team. You have to burn 1 shield, you go down shield advantage, and your Granbull would be almost fainted on the way out. So I'm going to throw a close combat here and dodge that fast move damage so that I can maybe get to another close combat later. Crustle's going to see a rise in popularity here because of because of Caleb Pang's new team. And it does, in the backline, give this team a little bit of issues, but you're going to see if it wants to beat a Alolan Muk, it's going to have to shield here, and shielding is completely fine. The problem is Weavile does really not deal well with smackdowns, but I'm going to get to the next charge move here and throw this Crunch, and really hope that they let it through, which they do. So in comes Lapras. Lapras versus Weavile, 1 shield up on Weavile. This is closer than you think. Weavile has a type advantage because you just don't want to get, or you don't take very much damage from Ice Shards. You resist it as your Ice typing. And this Lapras goes for Skull Bash instead of straight Surfs. So I think this Skull Bash kind of helped because they were able to survive an extra foul play. Oh no, they weren't. So if they had gone Surfs, this game might have been different instead. I would have only been able to shield 1 of them. And Weavile can take a Surf, but it would be much closer. So that's the first 5-0 set. I was very excited about this team, but still a bit skeptical. You can never trust the first 5-0. And I'm not going to show you guys every single loss because that video would be like 2 hours long, 2 hours of straight losing. If you want to watch that, I don't know, there might be something wrong. It was very sad. So instead, we're going to skip forward a couple days in time. And we are going to change this team up a little bit. So the reason why I chose Toxicroak over Granbull is Toxicroak's matchups versus the general meta are just really strong. It really only loses to like Swampert and Confusion users very hard, and has a lot of neutral matchups, and specifically the poison typing allows it to beat all the other fighters. The other advantage over Granbull is that Pokemon actually have to be scared of its charge moves. If you throw a Sludge Bomb, like at a Charizard, for example, it hurts. They have to really consider a shield. So we're going to see how this team performs a little bit differently. Toxicroak comes in, and you're able to farm down this Empoleon. So being able to hit the Steel types is also really big. There aren't that many Steel types in Ultra League Premier, but... and here's a Sludge Bomb coming off as well. Granbull would not have this kind of energy. And Charizard takes a ton of damage. I swap in with Weavile. Weavile is weak to this fire damage, which is kind of unfortunate. But I'm going to charge to... yeah. 2 moves. I really should have... I actually honestly probably could have gotten both those avalanches off. But doesn't matter. They had another Pokemon in the back anyways. So... and Weavile wasn't going to be able to take them down with a sliver of health. But... the main goal is to get that counter user against Toxicroak. So here's actually a really hard matchup for Toxicroak. This is for this team is Charmers. So we do have 2 poison Pokemon on this team, and I found that Charmers actually don't shield a lot of the time. This case they did. I went for the bait. But eliminating that Charmer is extremely important. Toxicroak and Alolan Muk both have near one-shot potential on them. And a lot of the times Charmers like to protect, or Charmer users like to protect their Charmers. So I don't usually bait a lot, but it looks like I do bait quite a bit in this match, because I think I'm going to go for Dark Pulse here as well. Just because I know that they need to save their Poliwrath here, and they don't bite. So this is just a lesson. When you're running these like high damage charge move teams, it's a lot of the time it's better not to bait, just so you can guarantee getting that shield off. So because of this, I'm able to come in with Weavile. Farming down takes way longer than expected because it's resisted, and I have to end up shielding a Dynamic Punch, and they're going to come in with Muk here, but they've got no shields. And Avalanche on neutral targets absolutely shreds. Unfortunately, they're going to get a charge move here. Probably Thunder Punch. They only have Thunder Punch and Dark Pulse generally, and Dark Pulse is resisted. So because they throw the Thunder Punch, I'm able to farm up a little more and then get to another Avalanche. So it's just showing Weavile a bit faster to get to its powerful charge move at least. And Avalanche is fantastic charge move. Ice is a fantastic offensive typing. The problem is Weavile has to deal with its pretty bad defensive typing and matchup. So we're going to see a Crustal lead here. Toxicroak dominates this. And I'm just going to charge up a little bit. I keep expecting them to switch out here, but they don't. So I'm going to end up throwing Mud Shots, or Mud Bombs, sorry. And they do eventually swap out into a Slowking. So I saw the Water Psychic and I had no clue what was coming in the back. And I did not react fast enough. I didn't consider that could be a Confusion user. So I'm able to get a Dark Pulse off on this Slowking. The problem is I'm not getting any shields down here. But the Psychic doesn't hurt very much. And I'm able to farm all the way down. Ton of energy remaining. And Crustal comes back in. And I just want to remove this Crustal. It's big annoyance to the Weavile. And they're going to come in with Shift Tree in the back. As long as I can get some shields, I can swap into Weavile and kind of outpace this Shift Tree. Yeah, I don't want to spend any shields on Alolan Muk because I know Weavile is going to be the one dealing the damage here. I'll get another Sludge Wave off, and then I'll swap out. This Shift Tree has a little bit of banked energy, but there's no way this Shift Tree can beat me to 1 Avalanche with 3 Leaf Blades. So, and even then, I'm not sure it's a KO. So Shift Tree, actually probably a viable alternative for Weavile in this lineup. I don't think Weavile is the end-all be-all here. I think the hardest Pokemon to replace in this lineup would probably be Alolan Muk. But just because of its general tankiness. But I think you could still run, for example, a Honchkrow in that place. Or you could run Honchkrow as a closer as well. So this is a Charizard double fairy team, I'm pretty sure. And you would think I'm countered in the lead and I'm countered in both switches. So we're going to see how this actually works. managed to get the first shield, and we'll see if I get the second shield here. I do. So 2 shields down, and luckily I CMP tie with the Weavile, and that's what makes this game possible to win. So now they have no shields on their Weavile, but I realize I'm still in a bit of trouble. And Weavile is going to be pretty... it's dangerous, this game. Everything is super effective against Weavile, which might be the case in a lot of teams, actually. But I'm able to take out the Weavile, and I now have a 2 shield advantage. But I also know that there's a Charizard and probably a Togekiss in the back, and I need to take out both. So I swap Weavile into probably the lesser of the 2 evils. You can blow shields to take a lot of damage of the Charizard. He's going to use 2 Dragon Claws. He knows I have to shield both, and I'm just building up some Avalanches. I just want, because I know he's going to look for an opportunity to switch in. I just want to have energy for when he does. But I farm all the way down, and I'm going to get this Avalanche off. I don't know what's come in yet, but it is a Togekiss. And this Togekiss is extremely low now. Avalanche doesn't quite one-hit KO, but Toxicroak, with its poison subtyping, resisting Charm a little bit, is able to take that Togekiss down. This game should never have been possible to win if you just look at it from a classic team building perspective. Lost lead and 2 lost switches, but this team perseveres. Machamp in the lead. This is perfect. This is the Pokemon you are looking to eliminate from the other team, and it's already there. I'm surprised more Machamps don't swap out right away. I get that they don't want to give up switch advantage, but this matchup is not very good. I feel okay letting my Toxicroak get low. It might come back to bite me, but I really think that if they have a Machamp, that's probably their only fighter, especially if it's in the lead. So I feel comfortable letting Toxicroak go down at this point and being able to play this Lapras Weavile matchup. So I tank a Surf pretty comfortably, and I'm going to just start throwing out foul plays. Lapras charges to Surf very fast too, though. I'm not actually sure who outpaces who. I think it's very close. It probably depends on who sneaks in fast moves, which should really be fixed. And yeah, I'm going to get to this next foul play. So it looks like I do slightly outpace. And I'm going to try and swap and catch Surf, but I elect not to shield here. I realize I've got a shield advantage. Hopefully whatever they have in the back, Alolan Muk can beat with energy advantage after I farmed on Lapras and the shield advantage. And it's a Venusaur, so didn't even need either of those. I just need one or the other. So 4-1 set. I don't know if you looked at my rating in this video. It's really low at this point. So this is just me climbing back out of the trenches that Granbull created back at the time. It's not that I think Granbull is a bad Pokemon, because I think Granbull is still a very good Pokemon. I just don't think that it fits. It fits ideally in this team, but it doesn't in terms of like typing, but it doesn't fit in terms of idea. You want those charge moves. So Alolan Muk in the lead. Usually how I like to play this is I like to swap, let them charge up a little bit after this first charge move, and then swap into Alolan Muk and try and catch a charge move, because Alolan Muk tanks its own charge moves like absolutely crazy. There's like almost no damage there. What a waste. But unfortunately, in comes Toxicroak. So the matchup I was trying to kind of avoid in the first place, I get to a Dark Pulse. I'm not sure if Sludge Wave would have actually done more damage, but I already clicked it, and I tanked the Mud Bomb. So I'm going to come in with my Toxicroak, and Toxicroak is actually a pretty big problem for my team, especially because my Toxicroak loses all mirror matchups. Every single Toxicroak I ran into was 100% Toxicroak. Mine's IVs are 13, 15, 15, so the attack stat's a bit low, and if I'm beaten to CMP every time, then I'm going to have some issues. But luckily I was able to burn a shield earlier, and unfortunately it looks like they, I think, rage quit here, but they actually didn't. So I felt a bit bad about this when they actually came back. It must have been an app crash or something. But I thought they just had realized they were in a lot of trouble when their Toxicroak went down and I still had a shield. But yeah, I think regardless of that disconnect, this game was a pretty easy win, even just off the back of Toxicroak it looks like their team has the same Toxicroak issues, but at least their Toxicroak's at 100%. So it'll win the mirrors. I found the best way to play Toxicroak lead matchups when you don't have a perfect is to just blow both shields and then switch. So that at least you have a shields down scenario where your Toxicroak can maybe get to a mud bomb before theirs by farming down something else. So we're going to see Machamp come in. Once again, they don't shield the first Sludge Wave. I feel like Shadow Machamps are the main ones who shield it. And I'm going to shield here because I think I can get to another charge move, which I can. I will always trade a shield for a shield. I'm not delusional enough to think that I can farm them down, but they throw their energy, which means that I can comfortably come in with Toxicroak, get that little extra hit of energy, and Drifloon comes back in. And once again, another fantastic backline for Weavile. We have a grass type and a flying type, and Avalanche just absolutely chunks these two Pokemon. You do have to be careful of Tangrowth though, as it runs Rock Slide and is a one-shot, but I'm able to farm down this Tangrowth and bring a ton of energy into this Drifloon matchup. So Drifloon running Icy Wind and Shadow Ball, both are resisted by Weavile. It's kind of rare that both Ice and Ghost are resisted by a single Pokemon, but here we are. Weavile with its specifically good typing for this. It's still going to end up going down here though, just because, oh no, it's not. And but Toxicroak's at full health, so this is no problem. Once again, this is a lost lead. That was a Drifblim lead, right? A lost lead and a lost switch. Muck into, or sorry, a Alolan Muck into Machamp, and we're able to pull out the win. We're going to see Lapras lead here. This is pretty good for the team. Staying with Toxicroak, counters really add up. And I'm going to have to blow a shield on the Surf. I want to keep my Toxicroak relatively healthy. Shielding or not shielding Surf there is kind of whatever, but I'm going to throw Sludge Bomb. It doesn't make sense to bait here just because Mud Bomb does almost no damage in neutral matchups. And they're going to bring in Venusaur. I might consider switching here. I do, just because I want to preserve the Toxicroak for whatever. Yes, look, there's the Machamp. And this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. I'm going to go for a Dark Pulse by accident. I did this before Cross Chop to try and get a shield, and I don't. So this is just one of those games where if I went for the Sludge Wave, it would have been a more consistent win. But instead, I have to bank on them not shielding. I can bring in Toxicroak. I get that fast move off in between, so they're going to faint now, and I only have to take one Cross Chop. So it all depends what they have in the back, and it's a Venusaur. So I'm just going to get to that Sludge Bomb, throw it. Hopefully they shield. And I'm going to have to get into Weavile as fast as I can and shield up a Frenzy Plant here. I do think I live one Frenzy Plant, but just barely. Actually, we'll find out. I didn't realize it was this match that we find out. Yeah. And I over-tap a bit there. This has been a bit of a problem for me recently, but get that Avalanche off and absolutely shreds Venusaur. One of the main advantages of this team is that every Pokemon is good against Venusaur. One of the kings of the Ultra League Premier meta. And we're able to win this. So Shadow Dragonite. Dragonite's pretty hard as well. Nothing on your team really does a lot of good against it. If you can get to swap out and come back in with shields down, then you can maybe take it out with the Weavile with Avalanche in one hit later. And obviously it doesn't appreciate any of the charge moves that come out of Alolan Muck, for example. So I'm able to deal some damage to this Toxicroak and burn a shield with Alolan Muck, but unfortunately they have an energy advantage. So I'm really going to have to play the burning shields game here. And honestly, that's very good for the Weavile versus Dragonite matchup. So they have an Alolan Muck of their own. This matchup is going to be very interesting. You resist Dark Pulse and Snarls, and Avalanche does quite a bit of damage. I feel like they didn't get to a Sludge, or they did. Oh, I wasn't counting. So I just need to get to 2 Avalanches. I really hope that they don't shield, or they do shield, so I can burn their shield and take them down. And then I just need to beat Dragonite to an Avalanche. I probably should have stayed in for a little longer, but luckily he blows his energy anyways, but it doesn't look like it's quite enough, as he had a ton stored up, enough for a Hurricane. So I think even a Dragon Claw would have KO'd there. Shadow Dragonite is just very, very powerful. I don't even remember him charging up that much, and here we are. So that was a bit of a rough game. That was almost worst case scenario with Dragonite in the front and Toxicroak in the back. Still made it a close matchup. I think one Snarl away from getting an Avalanche off. So Ampharos is a decently sized problem for this team. In previous teams, I thought Ampharos wasn't a very good Pokemon, but I think that's just because those Pokemon could tank like a good amount of Thunder Punches. This team has some more issues. I throw Dark Pulses because I know it's going to take two fast moves to KO, or sorry, 2 charge moves to KO anyways. So we're going to probably trade shields here. Or at least, no, I'm going to get their shield and go down. And I'm able to, at this point, come in with whatever Pokemon and farm their Ampharos down. So I'm going to choose to come in with Toxicroak as to not reveal my back line. I don't want them to know that I have a Weavile yet. And I'm able to tank a Thunder Punch, preserve some shields, and they're going to come with Exeggutor. So Exeggutor obviously will shred Toxicroak. I'm able to get out of there before Confusion goes down, and they just let their Exeggutor go down. So this is an interesting decision from their perspective, as I have a Toxicroak, which I think can actually counter down this Lapras with both shields. I'm confused as to why they didn't just swap into the Lapras in the first place. I think that would have been the correct play. But instead, I do end up burning some shields for Weavile. I think I probably, in hindsight, would not have. I would have just gone into Toxicroak. They're going to blow their shield, CMP tie with me and waste their energy. And wow, yeah, I'm getting really greedy here. That was, like, this is just, I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm not going to get to, oh, it's because I had charge moves all ready to go. So my goal was just to burn that shield so I can come with a big Sludge Bomb and just win that game. I didn't realize my Toxicroak was so low. I guess it's me not paying attention to my own video. So there's another 4 set there. I think I closed the recording a little bit before it actually finished, but it is what it is. The third set, we have a Gallade lead. You want to get out of there right away. I go into a Alolan Muk generally. I think Alolan Muk and Weavile have approximately the same matchups, and they're going to come in with a Lapras. So Lapras is getting a lot more common, and because they're at half health, I'm going to go for the Dark Pulse bait now, and they haven't thrown a move, because I know that they want to throw a charge move. Usually if a Lapras charges up this far, it's a Shield Bash. They really want that defense boost. And I'm going to go for Sludge Wave because either I'm going to get the KO or near KO, or I'm going to burn a shield. So I'm able to come into this next matchup with a little bit of energy. I'm really hoping this is just a Leaf Blade, and it is, so I can get a Sludge Wave off. And they're going to either need to shield this or faint. So this puts me in a pretty good position with Weavile, as long as I don't get close combated here. And I'm just, like, I've learned my lesson from Typhlosion. I just shield to be safe now. They get the close combat off. It's Ampharos. I'm going to swap out Ampharos versus Toxicroak with shields down. I think this is a pretty neutral matchup. I'm going to go with Mud Bomb because it's super effective. But I think just because Mud Bomb is so bad, even charging up to a Sludge Bomb would probably have been better. But they're going to throw their energy, and I'm actually going to get free energy off of this Ampharos and Avalanche the Gallade. So Avalanche isn't a one-shot on Gallade, but when this Gallade is taking a little bit of damage, it is. So that's a neutral hit. It does so much damage. It's incredible. Avalanche is probably one of the best non-community moves in the game. It's got a 2.0 damage per energy, which is almost unheard of. So we have a Scavalier lead, and you do have to throw a Mud Bomb here. Despite it being steel typing, it only takes regular effective damage, and you have to shield the Drill Run. So this honestly isn't even that good of a matchup for Toxicroak, but unlike Granbull, you leave this matchup with a ton more health, so you can actually do stuff. Gallade comes in. You can see I throw a counter there. I throw a charge move and shield, and don't get hit by the Confusion. So if you haven't seen it, that's what I talk about in my second Advanced Mechanics video, part 2, how to defer fast move damage. So I essentially catch that Confusion on my Alolan Muk, which resists it. By pausing the timer with a charge, or using a counter to take up 2 turns, pausing a timer with my charge move, and then swapping out to catch that charge move on my dark type Pokemon. So we have Gallade. I know it's not a close combat, and to win this matchup, I'm going to have to tank one Leaf Blade. If I let that, or if I shield that, then he can just close combat me. I'm going to throw another Snarl because I know I can. And this is me using the advanced mechanics from my first video, where I throw one Snarl and then charge move, one Snarl, then charge move, because I have a 3-turn fast move and they have a 4-turn fast move. So I'm not letting them sneak in any extra confusions. If I let them sneak in any extra confusions, then this Gallade might actually get to the next Leaf Blade and I will be in a lot of trouble. Another confusion user, I can get right out of there. Executor Lead and Swampert. This is a Pokemon that this team actually has a decent amount of problems with. Swampert, obviously ground typing, has super effective damage against 2 of the Pokemon on this team. I really have to kind of call a bait with a Lowland Muck to get anything done to try and get shields down. And the problem is he also outpaces Weavile. So this time I'm going to let the Lowland Muck go down. Honestly, in hindsight, I probably could have shielded and blown another shield. But I'm going to go for the farm down on Toxicroak, and now I have quite a bit of energy. I know Executor is going to come back in, so same advanced mechanic as last time. I throw a counter. Oh, no, Executor doesn't come back in. So this is interesting. They come in with Snorlax instead. I don't know. I go for the Mud Bomb to try and bait because I know I can get to a Sludge Bomb as well. And they're going to come out with Executor. So this game is going to be down to the wire. 1 shield on each side. I know I can tank a Seed Bomb. I know I can't tank a Superpower. But unfortunately, I let them get to another Seed Bomb. This is poor counting by me. And I'm going to really charge up here and try and get some of these moves off. Unfortunately, this Snorlax still has a shield. And it won't be able to lick me down, but I'm 1 Snarl away from getting to an Avalanche, and a Body Slam will definitely be enough. And the licks are enough to take out Toxicroak. So, unfortunate matchup there, but I think it was played pretty well. Swampert is just very tough to deal with. Confusion Lead, obviously pretty tough to deal with. You're in a razor thin margin with Toxicroak being double affected by Psychic. But you're going to see this Machamp, for some reason, decide to not blowing energy at all until the 2 cross chops. And I'm just going to take these. Getting rid of their fighter is the most important. And Empoleon comes in. So Empoleon is a steel type, weak to ground, weak to fighting. I get a little bit of damage off. And you can see I now have a shield advantage against this Empoleon. And switch advantage still. Empoleon does quite a bit of damage though, just with fast moves and charge moves. Lowland Muck gonna do its best here. I think I don't blow a shield. Interesting play. I'm up 2 shields to none. I throw 4 Snarls. I know on the 5th one he's gonna get to a Hydro Cannon, and it looks like I can't prevent it anyways, unfortunately. I thought the foul play would do a little bit more damage. So now I only have 1 shield, and we'll see what they come in with. The problem is they're Machamp. They still have a Machamp at a couple health, and Machamp's counters deal so much damage to Weavile. So it is imperative that I hopefully save a little bit of, some charge move energy. So I think he thought he was trying to catch that, but I was trying to take him out before he did any, or he got any more counters off. They do a ton of damage. 4 times super effective versus Weavile. And that was not a catch. That was me intentionally throwing that Avalanche at that Machamp. And then I still have enough energy to take out that Alolan Muck at the end as well. So that's one of the few cases where you can't completely take out the Machamp beforehand. But that's because they swapped into Empoleon. I got greedy and wanted to use my Mud Bombs. So we're going to see another Ampharos versus Alolan Muck matchup here. I go for the Dark Pulses because that is what you need 2 of to KO, even though Sludge Wave does more damage. I'm going to shield a Thunder Punch because I think I can outpace this Ampharos, but I actually, in hindsight, am not sure that you do outpace Ampharos at all, and this might have been a huge mistake. Luckily, I get to my charge move first, and then I let my A-Muk go down. And this is looking very similar to an earlier game in this video. And except Dragonite's going to come in. So this was a mistake. I remember this game too. So I throw the Sludge Bomb here. I really should have just saved my energy. Because Avalanche is a one-shot anyways. And just swapped straight to Weavile. So Gengar comes in and charges up to a Shadow Ball. So Shadow Ball is probably the most damaging thing it can do, but I decide to overfarm way too much. And this Shadow Ball almost KOs me. I'm forced to throw my charge move. I didn't realize it would deal that much damage. I thought I could farm him all the way down with Snarls. That was so greedy. So I ended up paying the price here. Even though I get 2 charge moves off, this Dragonite still has enough health to come back in. So this was just this just showed the issue with throwing my throwing my energy on Toxicroak. I really should have saved it. I could have got a Mud Bomb on the Gengar and fainted it in the back later, or I could have had the Sludge Bomb for that Dragonite after I burn all the shields later too. So as you can see, still climbing a little bit, but this team, I don't know, finally got Weavile to work. It does feel slightly less satisfying than the Gengar team, just because Gengar is so powerful. There's so many more one-shots. This one is like so many 2-shots, like very close to one-shots. Whereas I think maybe Shadow Weavile might be the play too. I just don't have a Shadow Weavile. Yeah, as always, just leave a comment if you have any questions on maybe replacements maybe you don't have as a Pokemon on this team, or things you want to see in the future. And as always, thank you guys for watching.